Okay, everyone knows the name Roswell Incident. You hear it, you think flying saucers, maybe aliens, definitely government cover-ups, right? It's part of our modern mythology almost.
It really is.
But what if that whole story, the one we all kind of know, is just scratching the surface, like barely?
Mm.
Today, we're not just going over old headlines, we're diving deep. We've got this, well, it's a top secret memo, July 1947, written by Dr. Harold Finch. He was the director of the Division of Non-Standard Technologies, the DNST.
A fascinating figure in himself.
Totally. And this memo, it's not speculation. It lays out details hidden for, wow, decades about what they actually found in New Mexico and the conclusions they drew, conclusions you probably haven't heard before.
And that's what makes this so intriguing, you see.
Yeah.
This gives you, the listener, a kind of privileged peek into this really pivotal moment. Right after World War II, science and strategy were shifting dramatically. And Finch's memo, it's not just about some crashed debris. He talks about finding what he called a perfect black box, something that just baffled them, completely beyond anything they understood. It pushed the limits of, well, what they even thought was possible.
A perfect black box. Wow.
Yeah. So our mission today is really to unpack the deepest implications of what they recovered, to get past the usual sensational stuff and see what Finch was really grappling with.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, according to this memo. It kicks off July 6, 1947. Pretty simple start. A rancher, W. Brazel, reports finding this huge debris field. It's out on his property about 75 miles northwest of Roswell.
Right, pretty remote area.
Very remote. And the memo describes this stuff as just weird, highly unusual. The field team immediately noticed this large amount of thin metallic foil that apparently called it memory foil right away.
Memory foil.
Yeah, and get this, you could apparently crumple it up tight, like in a ball, and then just watching it, it would smooth itself back out. Perfectly flat, no creases.
Whoa. Okay, that's definitely not standard airplane wreckage.
Not even close. And they also found these small I-beams, but they were alert with these. The memo says, unidentifiable violet-hued glyphs.
Violet glyphs. Just adds to the strangeness, doesn't it?
Totally. It was clear from minute one this wasn't, just some weather balloon experiment gone wrong.
Absolutely not. And the response, according to Finch, was immediate, very coordinated. A DNST field team, that's Finch's group, non-standard technologies operating under Roswell Army Airfield, they were sent out straight away.
Makes sense. High priority.
Oh, definitely. And for Brazel, the rancher, the memo details a very strict protocol. He was taken into custody, kept for a 72-hour debriefing by the Army Airfield guys.
72 hours for finding debris.
Exactly. He got the standard "don't talk about this" national security warning. And he was specifically told to push the official story, the weather balloon story, to anyone who asked.
The classic cover.
The classic cover. They noted he was compliant, but also, significantly, that he'd be monitored going forward. It just shows how tight the lid was clamped down from the very beginning.
Yeah, serious control for just a weather balloon, like you said.
Yeah.
But, as Finch's memo lays out, Brazel's discovery, that was really just the appetizer, wasn't it?
That's putting it mildly, yes.
That debris field was just the start. The main impact site, the memo reveals, was actually several miles away from where Brazel first found the stuff.
Right.
And there, they found what Finch officially designated Asset Alpha. Now, this was the bulk of it. The memo calls it NTV-01's structural frame.
NTV, non-terrestrial vehicle.
That's how they classified it, yeah. Non-terrestrial vehicle 1. So
Yeah.
the frame, control surfaces, and more of that weird memory foil debris.
Right.
But Finch notes that while it was clearly advanced, he considered this wreckage, maybe a bit cautiously, a conventional, albeit challenging, reverse engineering problem.
Okay, so challenging, but something they could maybe wrap their heads around eventually.
That seems to be the idea. But then...
Then comes the really stunning part. Recovered with Asset Alpha. The memo states 3 expired non-terrestrial biologicals.
Whoa, okay. Biologicals, that's huge. And usually left out of the story.
Completely. And the handling of Asset Alpha, including the biologicals, was immediate and highly classified. It was shipped under armed guard straight to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio.
Right, Pat. Always right, Pat.
And specifically under what Finch calls Hangar 18 protocols. Now, that designation meant the absolute highest level of secrecy and handling, top tier.
Got it.
And Finch is crystal clear in the memo. This transfer, Asset Alpha, that was to be treated as the primary official secret. Why? Because it would serve as a high-visibility decoy.
A decoy, I mean intentionally.
Intentional misdirection. Designed, he says, to absorb the attention and the analytical resources of, well, their own conventional science programs, and crucially, any foreign spies trying to figure out what happened.
Wow, that's incredible foresight, creating a complex decoy like acid alpha. But did the memo give any clue how Finch came up with that strategy? Was it like standard procedure for finding something like this? Or did he decide that right there because of how strange everything was?
That's a really sharp question.
Yeah.
And it points to Finch's, well, his strategic mind.
Hmm.
The memo doesn't spell out some pre-existing alien crash decoy plan.
Okay.
It really implies it was an immediate, calculated move by Finch. He saw the potential chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both scientifically and geopolitically. Everyone would want a piece of it.
For sure.
So the decoy plan seems born out of pure necessity, to shield the real secret from, well, from everyone. From scientists who might jump to the wrong conclusions, from spies, maybe even from bureaucratic interference.
Yeah.
He basically decided acid alpha, while amazing, was a problem they could imagine solving, eventually.
Making it the perfect thing to wave around while hiding something else.
Exactly. The perfect distraction.
Okay, so if acid alpha, biologicals and all, was the elaborate decoy, what was the real secret? The thing Finch really needed to hide.
That brings us to acid beta. That's what Finch called the true enigma.
Acid beta.
This was recovered, apparently, from the core of the vehicle. And the description, it's wild. Finch describes it as a seamless, asymmetrical polyhedron, like a complex shape, but with no joints or seams visible, and its geometry was non-repeating.
Yeah, okay. Hard to even picture. And the material.
Get this. A matte black substance that is proven completely impervious to all forms of analysis.
Impervious, meaning?
Meaning they threw everything they had at it. The memo was explicit. Acid beta cannot be scratched, drilled, x-rayed, or analyzed spectrographically.
Wait, not even spectrography. They couldn't even figure out what elements were in it by looking at its light?
Nope. It completely defied every single analytical technique they possessed in 1947. It showed, and I quote, no signs of power, emits no energy, and is functionally inactive.
So it just sat there, didn't do anything.
Exactly, making it, in Finch's own powerful words, a perfect black box and an unsolvable object using any conventional science.
An unsolvable object?
Yeah.
That's mind-bending. So where did this go? Not right pat with the decoy, presumably?
No, absolutely not. Its transfer was even more secret, covert, under Finch's personal direct supervision. It went to a disused auxiliary site located within the Las Vegas bombing and gunnery range, Nevada.
Nevada, deep desert. Why there? That specific spot, the gunnery range. I mean, faced with something completely baffling, something unsolvable. Did Finch's memo mention, like, the initial reactions? Was there panic, scientific despair, maybe, before he figured out what to do?
The memo doesn't explicitly say panic, but you absolutely feel this sense of intense pressure, urgency, and yeah, maybe a bit of intellectual desperation. His reason for picking the gunnery range site was, well, brutally practical.
Okay.
He chose it because it was officially listed as a dormant WWII practice field. Just an old, forgotten bombing range on paper.
Ah, perfect cover.
Perfect cover. It provided, as he put it, a layer of secrecy deep enough to hide this project from all conventional oversight. And then he adds this line, which is quite telling. We cannot have our work hampered by scientists who refuse to look beyond their textbooks.
Wow, so he was basically building a fortress of secrecy to protect it even from mainstream science.
He needed a place where truly radical thinking could happen, away from the constraints of, established physics or bureaucracy, a sanctuary for a problem that broke all the existing rules.
Okay, so you've got asset beta, this perfect black box. It defies analysis. It's unsolvable by 1947 standards. Finch has hidden it away in the Nevada desert. What does he do? What's the next step when you have something that seemingly breaks physics? What was his... You called it his desperate hypothesis.
Yeah, desperate might be the right word. Because this is where Finch makes an absolutely stunning intellectual leap. This is the real core, the aha moment in the memo. Faced with this impossible object, he suggests, and again I'm quoting here, that we're approaching the problem from the wrong discipline.
The wrong discipline, meaning not physics, not engineering.
Exactly. He theorized that asset beta may not be a machine that requires an external switch, something you just turn on. He suggests it may be a tool that requires a specific non-human operator.
A non-human operator. In 1947, that's thinking way outside the box.
Way, way outside. And that hypothesis that maybe this thing needed a different kind of user led directly to an even more revolutionary idea.
Which was?
The memo contains an urgent recommendation. Finch urges that the study of asset beta, which they internally designated UNTA-01 at the gunnery range site, should be the main driver, the primary impetus for funding and speeding up a brand new top-secret initiative.
A new top-secret initiative born from this object. What kind of initiative?
Well, this is where it gets truly mind-blowing for the history of technology. This new initiative, Finch proposed, should be dedicated to exploring unconventional solutions. That included, potentially, the development of purpose-built biological assets.
Creating organisms for a task.
The implication is certainly there. But even more significantly, he proposed the creation of a non-human synthetic consciousness, a thinking machine. His words, an artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, he used that term, or the concept.
The concept is explicitly there.
Yeah.
Synthetic consciousness thinking machine. He might not have used the exact term artificial intelligence as we know it today, but the concept is unmistakable. And then he sums up the entire justification with this incredible line. He wrote, "If we cannot build a key to fit this lock, perhaps we must build a locksmith that can perceive the keyhole we cannot see."
Wow. Build a locksmith, an AI to understand alien technology. That is, just pause on that. In 1947...
It's staggering.
It really is. The sheer audacity of that idea, that from this crash, this lump of inscrutable matter, came the idea, the necessity for artificial intelligence. Not as some academic theory down the line, but as an urgent, classified, direct response to an alien mystery.
It completely reframes the narrative, doesn't it?
It totally reframes the conventional history of AI development.
It really forces us to reconsider, doesn't it? The timeline, the real driving force behind some of our biggest technological leaps. So, knowing now, based on this memo, that the push for artificial intelligence, or at least a form of synthetic consciousness, was potentially a top-secret initiative, born directly from the Roswell black box, well, it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
What does that imply about the true origins, the real trajectory of technology as we know it today? That's something for you, the listener, to really think about. How does this hidden piece of history maybe reshape your perspective on, well, everything that came after?